That's the moment it happened. Right there. The moment the great experiment went bankrupt. Yet again. For more than 250 years, they've been attempting a great experiment in secular morality. Over and over again, it has failed. This is just the latest failure. No, this time it's different. We've learned the lessons of World War II. We've ditched racism. We've ditched militarism and conquest. We've heard the voices of the better angels of our nature. This time there will be peace. This time there will be tolerance. This time there will be equity and equality, just like they promised over and over again for the last quarter of a millennium. And yet, once again, those seductive promises went bankrupt. What did they bring us this time? They brought us Clown World. While we were busy laughing at the clowns themselves were simmering with murderous rage. Why? Because of resentment. Resentment that was carefully taught to them in universities. Universities, yeah. Should it really have been a surprise that it all started there? They would have you forget that the first big supporters of Hitler's new order were the students and faculty of the German universities, that the leaders of Hitler's mobile death squads were among the best educated Germans to be found, that the interrogators and camp guards in Lenin and Stalin's gulags were the products of the intelligentsia. They'll have you forget it, but I won't, because they're at it again, teaching resentment again. But this time, it'll be different, right? They teach grievance, they teach envy, they teach hatred, dressed up as justice. When intellectuals can pick any guide for their morality, what do they pick? They pick resentment. The secular intellectuals just can't resist the lure. They can't seem to forgo an opportunity to drum up resentment where none existed before. Why? Because resentment offered them an easy and clear path to what they wanted. Power. The power to decide between good and evil. The power to shape a new society according to their vision. The power to be the architects, the managers, and the gods of this world. The most murderous ideologies in the past were also based on resentment. International socialism was built on grievance towards the owners of the means of production. National socialism was built on resentment at losing a war they believed they had won. Compared to the rage of the intellectuals are cooking up in modern America, at least the destructive resentment of the 20th century socialisms had some grounding. You could see what caused it, even if the solutions were monstrous, even if the solutions produced nothing but war and genocide. Oh, now we've learned our lesson. But have they now? Were their motives pure, or did they reject National Socialism for reasons that were less admirable? If resentment is the foundation of their power, then any attempt to cool the anger, to find common ground, to discuss issues politely with logic and reason was a threat. That's why they murdered Charlie Kirk. All he did was engage, educate, debate, and that made him an obstacle to their rage-fueled ambitions to power. Their power depends on keeping disagreement framed as moral outrage. Remove that outrage, and their entire structure crumbles. Those who cheered the loudest at the death of our Charlie were educated in those universities. Their anger was harnessed in those universities. Their seething rage was cultivated and directed by the teachings and culture of resentment. The resentment-based ideology of choice at the universities is rooted in Karl Marx. It always follows the same pattern, the same structure. It doesn't matter how his ideas are applied, economics or race or sexual preference, anything. It's all about grievance. Every time it's tried, the results are the same. Fits of rage that can only be satisfied with violence and slaughter. Looked at this way, there's not much to choose between this Marxism and the National Socialism of Germany in World War II. Both turn the world into rage-fueled slaughterhouses. So what have they learned? Nothing. They learned that in the contest between those two roads to power, international socialism and national socialism, international socialism won. Historian Paul Johnson observes that the science of Marxism is no more convincing than the race-based science of National Socialism. The International Socialists were every bit as murderous. So what's to choose between them? Victory, that's all. In the contest between them, Marx and his followers won. Had Hitler won World War II, the intellectuals would be teaching his insane racial theories instead. Not that their own insane racial theories make any more sense than their claim that a man can somehow become a woman. And once the original ideological framework lost its hold, what remained to guide them? They harnessed the one facet of human nature that was sure to stir up maximum resentment: frustrated hedonism. It wasn't about principle, just another route to power. We don't need to rely on the lessons of modern history alone. Ancient wisdom already warned us where simmering anger leads. It says in the Talmud, Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani said that Rabbi Yonatan said, anyone who gets angry, all kinds of hell rule over him, because anger causes him to transgress all kinds of severe sins, as is stated. Therefore, remove vexation from your heart and put away evil from your flesh. And that, in every era, is the bankruptcy of the great experiment, when resentment replaces morality, when power replaces principle. All that remains is rage and the destruction it leaves behind. So, now that we see the failure of the alternative, now is the time to take another look at our faith, to give it another chance, to be guided back to freedom and goodness. Do it for Charlie.